Okay, so the challenge is we have to win at least one set on Guilty Gear Strive as A.B.A without going into Jealous Rage. If you don't know what Jealous Rage is, it's essentially her super omega quirked out Super Saiyan form. It makes her instantly fast with enhanced normals, increased mobility, and she's just overall a really oppressive character in this stance. Without it though, it's a completely different story. According to Dustloop itself, her normal stance makes her a slow, weak, pitiful excuse of a character. She has pathetic mobility, miserable walk/dash speeds, and underwhelming offense. So we're gonna have to play this smart. Okay, first things first, I want to do some data collecting. So we're gonna go and raw dog into a match online, and hopefully we can gather some intel on how miserable this challenge is gonna be. And miserable it wasn't. Let me explain what happened here. My first match was against an Ino, which is honestly kind of brutal. She's a powerful rushdown character with good mix-ups and great mobility. So against a character like her, you really want to be able to capitalize off their mistakes. But for me, as A.B.A, I couldn't really do anything. I had zero A.B.A knowledge on what I could do. I just kept whiffing every single time I had the chance to strike back, but then Ino would gladly eat that up. And even if I wanted to try to grab out of pressure, I found that A.B.A was just way too slow to reliably do so against Ino's pressure. It just ended with me spending a lot of time in the corner defending everything I could, only to be beaten down over and over and over again. But that didn't answer the question. Why was this challenge not actually that hard for me? And actually, this Ino beatdown was a big part of it because I gathered a lot of intel from the fight. 1. The BNBs. As expected, A.B.A can't do a whole lot of damage without meter or rage, so what I needed to capitalize off of was the super simple and easy bread and butter combos. One I found most easily to memorize was simply close slash far slash heavy slash into quarter circle forward slash quarter circle forward slash. I don't know why I read all of that like that. I could also change the ending to a quarter circle back kick if I wanted to be a little bit silly, but despite this BNB combo, it would not be enough to secure a victory. This next lesson is probably the most important, I guess, in all of fighting games ever. Patience. I understand with the short and light bread and butter combo, my opponent will have a lot of wiggle room. However, as a floor-8 Guilty Gear Strive player, I know that we're usually not patient. We will get countered over and over and over again, and instead of learning from our mistakes, we will just embrace the Strive 8 brain and mash. But I am not just a Strive player. Stored in the database of my mind is all of my culminated experience playing Blaze Blue, where quite literally, if you wanted to win, you will spend an eternity blocking. So I believe I've developed some good-ass solid defense. The only weakness in my patience would be knowing good moves to get out of the corner, but I feel like 2P or 5P should just be fine for now. They're pretty basic stuff, but it's huge in the grand scheme of things. What's not pretty basic and what's actually insanely useful was the X Factor. The single technique that I believed made the most drastic impact in this challenge was the Goomba Stomp. I am no fighting game expert, but this move feels like it should suck, but it just doesn't. I found that even in my match against Ino, the Goomba Stomp was insanely effective in not just offense, but defense. So anyways, I was off to fight my next opponent, and although my head was filled with doubts, a spark of hope flickered. My second fight was against another A.B.A, and I'll admit I was a little scared. I was worried with how oppressive Jealous Rage A.B.A was, I wouldn't be able to get anything off, but let's see if these worries were true. Well, the round immediately started with Wolfmutt, the name of the A.B.A player, immediately going into a round start win with the BNB giving him Jealous Rage. As I immediately got through the corner, I knew how to lock the fuck in. I got out and did a usual progression of oppression, but then... what the fuck? I proceeded to then lose the round, not based on actual A.B.A skill diff, but Wolf definitely capitalized off the mistakes I'd make. Also, my general lack of knowledge on A.B.A.'s Jealous Rage kicked in and I was ultimately chipped to death. Now, set 2 was about to begin and I was Mr. Nice Guy no longer. The set began and I was immediately comboed into Jealous Rage and got wall broken. But then as all hope was lost, I had the Goomba Stomp. Although I couldn't fully capitalize out of my burst bait, I felt good. I felt like Yuji just hit a black flash. I lost the stock, but I felt it. The juice is spreading throughout my body. I proceeded to finally win a round start with a Holy Goomba Stomp, and I began my progression of oppression. Then I got a little bit silly and started spamming the flick my shit maneuver. It wasn't very smart because they proceeded to get their BNB into Jealous Rage. And because they started to pressure my shit really hard, I knew I had to get out of there ASAP. So... I began to realize, although this A.B.A probably has really good knowledge of Jealous Rage, I had good knowledge of being a basic bitch. My new strategy was to just try to keep as much distance from her as I could when she was in Jealous Rage, so then when she's out, I could space her out and win in the neutral. Then when she wasn't expecting it, the set was tied. Did I win that? Oh, let's go. I continued to abuse the Goomba Stomp since it seems like he just couldn't answer it, but I was still heavily handicapped by my basic inability to finish combos. The set was starting to look rough. My health was low, she was in Jealous Rage, but then... yes, the Goomba Stomp! Final set. Throughout the entire matchup, I started to actually feel good about the challenge, but I just knew that if I lost here, I'd lose my flame and lose all of my other matchups. Honestly, I am a lazy motherfucker sometimes, so if it wasn't now, it was never. If I lost this match, I'd just give up on this challenge. But Wolf had another trick in the bag. What the fuck? I feel like it's against the unwritten rules of Strive that if you get silly, you cannot hit somebody when you're being silly. I luckily was able to counter him, but he was able to make really good use out of Jealous Rage. But then... my god, the Goomba stuff. It was one round left to win it all, and the worst thing you can possibly imagine happened. He started to counter the Goomba Stomp. I was frightened by this. I was genuinely shook, so he was able to get an easy, perfect stock on me. So then it was finally down to the last round. My pits were soaking, my gunk was gunking, and my spunk was spunking. Oh my god, did I just win the set? Already? Jesus, okay. Big dub. Fuck yeah. That's a short video. Okay, cool.